Hello YouTube, back with the next Mountain Pony review, and today I'm reviewing G1's probably one of the more dangerous characters in G1, Grogar. He's the deadly ram that proved to be quite a force for the ponies to be reckoned with, and made sure there was no nonsense going on. And granted, he didn't do a whole lot in terms of actually maintaining his I guess, the area he was controlling. He didn't do all that much in terms of, he was mostly giving orders, but he did make sure that anyone that was going to be, he gave out a job, if you didn't do it, you could be punished for it, and he usually did. Bray was often the one, his little donkey friend was often the one to bear the brunt of his wrath, but he proved to be a huge threat in terms of the sheer power that he had. He could fire sort of lasers from his horns on the back of his head, pretty much. It's hard to say. It's probably more than likely that during the 500 years that he had been previously, away, he probably was gaining back the power he now had. But even then, they made it really relatively believable. He didn't just fire it in 3 seconds. It took probably more like 5 or 6 seconds to actually get it up to speed. And unfortunately, he didn't destroy the bell. We don't know whether that would have actually caused unintended consequences in terms of, if he destroyed the bell, would that weaken his power completely? All the ponies had to do was ring the bell, and then it was managed, that proved to be the only way out to taking them. Even then, he made sure that at some point that his plan went exactly as he wanted it to. That meant punching, of course, actually ends up proving to have its own incentives. Like, okay, if I don't do this well, he's going to punish me for it. And that's probably a good thing. Sometimes a little punishment's actually worthwhile in terms of making sure that things get done the way you want them to. Although, of course, for a certain audience, it's probably not worthwhile. But we don't know how old these characters are at this point. You can see Grogar's at least 500 years old, given the legend that was behind him. So I figure everyone else is probably much less than that, but still capable. The only time he was he was duped at least once. Mostly by Spike and his crafty little idea of using, it was Danny. Danny and Spike were kind of both. It was mostly, I think it was mostly Danny was the one that was behind it, who used the tape to mimic Bray, and kind of used a little bit of splicing together, but it took him a while. They had to actually run back and get it, and then. But even then, Grogar wasn't just on his own. He actually had a nice little army to keep his plan together. It worked out pretty well in the last 4 parts in the entire. So it's one of the longest storylines in the. It's like 4 or 5 4-part storylines in the entire TV show. But he proved to be a threat. He was pretty awesome. Not every villain is going to have. Yeah, he probably had some stereotypes among the list, like, constantly giving orders, not really doing a whole lot, punishing those who didn't follow his orders, but he still had he had magical powers as well. He really proved to be a threat. Yeah, he was kind of defeated easily, but it still took them a while. The writers made sure that they weren't going to have him just get knocked out in one. In the first story, they actually made go all the way out. They actually gave the ponies a run for the money, even trying to prevent them from escaping. So, and that's when it got really close. It got to 5 minutes of midnight, which I think is when his powers would have been fulfilled, and it was here to stay, as far as we know. But it's pretty decent villains. Kind of the villains I look forward to. In terms of, they don't have to cause destruction, as I saw there, but that usually helps, and usually them be smart and competent means they're decent villains to watch and see what they do next. Although, of course, doing some extra things, as long as they're still at least, destructive in some way, as a villain probably should be, because, let's face it, they're villains. They're not going to preserve the area. They're probably going to take it over and do something with it. They're not going to just be like, no, let's just keep the environment the way it is. Not much of a villain if you're just going to rule the area without actually changing it to your liking. I'm sure most villains are not going to appreciate the metal of flowers and rainbows and all that stuff. They're going to want to do something. Want to make it kind of like the witches did. They're going to want to make it more, uninviting for the nicer characters. Keep them out. Keep them away, because those are going to be the characters that are going to try to take you down as well. And that would mean even if they set foot, you need to make sure all kinds of dangerous traps, or in Grogar's case, he had a nice army. The army we didn't get to see a whole lot of. They only appeared in like the last 2 parts, or even just the last part. But Grogar did very well in keeping his plan together. Yes, it fell apart, but only because they found the bell and remembered it. If they had not even known about the storyline that went behind it, they would have been screwed. I mean, they probably would have been screwed if if he destroyed the bell. There's some possibility that and that would have been it. Because I mean, they had to ring it. If the bell is destroyed, how are you going to ring it effectively? So there's probably a good bet that if he had destroyed the bell, that would have been it. Game over. They lost. But of course, since this is meant to be not favoring the villains, they're going to lose anyway. But if they're going to lose, they might as well lose in a spectacular way. Have them run around for a while and have them actually terrorize whoever is trying to beat them at their own game. So he's definitely a villain to keep an eye on, especially since I think he's among. I mean, 500 years is a long time, and yeah, he managed to grab. I think he would have definitely proven to be. Who knows? If he had been revived today, who knows how he would have gone? I mean, I'm sure the writers could come up with some great ideas for his revival. So yeah, definitely a villain to watch if you're watching the TV. If you ever end up getting around to watching the TV series, watch for the Return to Tambalon parts 1 through 4. It'll take a little while because I mean you kind of need some starting points. You need to know what the lore is. Otherwise, if you could just skip over first half, you're gonna go, okay, what happened? Why are they going over to ring the bell? Well, it's part of the lore. That's how you beat him. Heck, they could have made video games out of this if they didn't already. They could have done a pretty awesome video game for just the villains in general. They haven't. I don't think the franchise was popular enough at the time to warrant that. But decent villain. That's my review on Grogar from G1's Return of Tambalon. Thanks for watching.